Hey guys, welcome back to another editing session. This is Jamin Taylor with J Hunter Photography, and it's been a while since I've done an editing session here. But I have an image that I wanted to kind of edit with you and take you through the workflow here. So let's jump into it, shall we? Let's get right into Lightroom, and you can see here I've got a golden-crowned kinglet. The nice thing about this little bird was that I photographed this bird right off my deck. It's always nice when the birds come to you, and for this guy I just had to step out the back door onto the deck and had my D500 with my 200-500 f5.6 lens, and I was able to get some nice photos of this guy that was in a birch tree right near my house. So can't complain about just being able to get a photo of this little guy here right from home. And here he's displaying some of that really fiery crown and just really looking good. And you can see that it's maybe a stop or so underexposed. So I think my goal for this image is going to be mostly to kind of bring this bird out from the background. I want to probably darken the background a bit, just to kind of, a lot of times spruce trees are, you kind of get into shadows pretty easy. So I want to bring this guy out and darken that background a bit so that he looks like he's popping out of the shadows a bit more. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the develop module here in Lightroom, and we're going to bring the exposure, I think, all the way. Let's see, let's just play with this a little. And it just needs to be lightened a bit. I think something like that is probably good. We're going to bring the contrast, probably something about like that. Color looks pretty good. There's a lot of green. I'm noticing lately a lot more kind of green color cast to a lot of my images, and usually it's with a bird or wildlife that is surrounded by green foliage. So I've been really conscious of that and trying to take that out. Let's see, texture. I'm not going to add any texture because I'm going to do that in Lightroom, excuse me, Photoshop, and then Topaz Labs. And same with clarity. Clarity kind of tends to bring out the details in the background a little bit more, and I really don't want to do that. I kind of want to keep those soft and nice and not bring those out to be a distraction from the birds. So, and I think color looks okay too. That's about accurate colors for, aside from a bit of a green cast. Those are nice colors. So, really didn't have to do much here in Lightroom. What I am going to do, I think I'm going to bring this in. It's just a little bit too center composed for me, so I'm going to hit Shift here, drag this top corner down, and just bring this something like just to offset just a little bit. And see, this bird is kind of hitting here on this lower right third, and I kind of like that. I've got these needles over here on the left side, but I'm going to take care of those in Photoshop. They're a little bit of a distraction there, just kind of by themselves, so I'll take care of that. But I think maybe just something like that looks good. I'm going to hit OK, and I think that looks good. So from here, I am going to first I'm going to edit this in Topaz Studio, and what this is this is a noise removal. I'm going to go in here and remove noise with Topaz Studio. So here we're going to say go in with Lightroom adjustments, and then from here we're going to jump into Topaz Studio. Okay, so when I'm in Topaz Studio, the only thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to adjustments and go to AI Clear, and this is Topaz Labs' one of their latest smart programs. And AI Clear really helps denoise, bring down the noise, and keeps the details here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to run this. And you can see here it's running. You'll see the progress bar, and when it's finished, then we'll have to save it back to Lightroom, and then it'll save those as TIFF files. And those TIFF files is what we will open in Photoshop and actually do our editing on. So we will let this run its course and do its thing. Okay, so Topaz has completed its program, and you can see it's got some really nice details in here, and it has removed quite a bit of noise. So from here, I'm just going to exit out of this, and this is going to bring me back to Lightroom, and you can see here, here's my TIFF. I always give these a little 5-star. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and open this up in Photoshop. All right, here we are in Photoshop. First thing I want to do is get rid of these needles here. They're kind of distracting to my eye. So I'm going to take my clone tool, my healing brush tool, excuse me. I'm just going to sample some random area. First I'll sample this area, say something like that, and then I'll sample this area. Just kind of get rid of some of that in here. Try to make it look nice and natural. Yeah, there we go, something like that. I am going to hit this too right there. I get really picky sometimes. But that looks pretty good, I think. So now comes the part of trying to bring some separation between this bird and the background. And I think what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to go ahead and bring in here this quick selection tool, which I found is super handy. I use it very, very often. I'm going to go in here and do a quick selection of this bird as best I can. Okay, probably something like that. I'm going to fine-tune this a little bit. I'm going to go through here. And there are probably better ways to do this, certainly other ways to do this. Now I'm going to kind of bring I just want something kind of like this. I'm going to get this kind of rough. It doesn't need to be exact at the moment. So I'm just kind of getting a general idea for now of where I want to mask. And I think that looks pretty good. Let me go in here and clean this up just a little bit. There's some area right here. And maybe right here. Oops, wrong one, guys. Okay, so I think that's okay for now. Whoops, except for one little area here. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to hit Q. And this is going to give me quick mask mode. And so here is where I'm actually going to take the blur tool, make sure my strength is at 100, and I'm just going to blur the edges of where the bird is. So I want them to be a lot softer. And then I'm going to take my paintbrush tool here, Let's do make my opacity 100, and this is where I can really kind of go in and make a much softer selection. Make that real soft, and then if I hit X, I can toggle between basically erasing and painting in. You toggle between the black and the white. And so I'm going to do that real quick here. Just fine-tuning that selection. Just softening that. Just like that. There we go. I think that's looking really good. And it doesn't have to be so uniform, so kind of bringing some of these out too. Just want it to look as natural as possible. Okay, I'm going to hit Q again. Just going to bring out quick mask mode, take us out of it. Now I'm going to go here into brightness and contrast. Whoops. I've got to invert the selection. So the bird right now is selected, and what I want to do is darken the background. So I need to inverse the selection. So there we go. So now I've got this background selected how I want it, and I'm going to go to brightness and contrast. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring that background down, just something that looks, not totally unnatural, but just pops the bird out a bit more. And you can always change the opacity on this. You can see there's quite a difference. It really pops out of there quite a bit more. But if you think it's too much, you can always go in here and change the opacity. And I think so. Let's go with 75 here. I think that looks pretty good. And there's a weird little black. I'm just noticing this little black thing, and it's distracting me a little bit. So I'm gonna just go take care of that little thing. There we go. Easy taken care of. All right, so there's my little bird. Looks pretty good here. Don't have any needles distracting me here. I think I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take my dodge tool. And some people do this on a different layer as to not obstruct it, but I'm just going to do this right on that layer because I'm crazy like that. There we go. Nice catch light. It's looking really good. You can see that sparkle on the bird's eye, that life. So I'm going to go back into this selection. I'm going to inverse. There we go. Now I'm going to do another adjustment layer, and this one is going to be levels. And here I'm going to go, and where it says RGB, I'm going to go to the green, and I'm just going to take this green down just. That's too much right there. I think 2 is actually good. You don't really need much. You see that? Just a little bit goes a long way. So I took a lot of that green out of there, and what I can do here is I kind of want that green to remain on the spruce. So I'll just go and paint this out, let this green color remain there on the spruce, and then it'll only be on the bird, just like that. So I think this looks pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check the levels here overall. So what I'm going to do is duplicate these layers, and then I'm going to merge them. Now I'm going to do a Command L. Just want to see. Yeah, that's probably good right there. And I think I'm happy with that. I like the way that looks. It doesn't look, I didn't darken the background dramatically. I think it looks pretty good. Although, I think I'm going to try something real quick just to see how this looks. Take this down to like 40. There we go. There we go. Okay. I'm happy. I think that looks good. Beautiful little bird. I'm going to go ahead and add my signature here. Throw it down right there. I'm going to add, I think color dodge will look good. Bring the opacity down. I don't want my signature to be overwhelming. I just want to make sure people know that it's mine and call it good. So for this one, I'm going to save it. Okay, it's saved, and I'm going to close it out. Go back into Lightroom. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this one, go back into Develop. I'm going to take a snapshot of this, and then I'm going to go back to the original, because I want to show you what we started with. So that's what we started with, and that's what we ended up with. Here we are. Before, after, before. So you can see we didn't really darken the background much from where it was originally. Mostly what we did was brighten up the bird and really bring it out. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm happy with that. Looks cool. Great little bird. I love these little birds. Mostly I get them in the spring and in the fall, and sometimes during the winter if they stick around, but you just gotta find them. So that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in here to this little edit, and I hope it was helpful for you. Hope you got something out of it. If you like my channel, please subscribe and ring the little bell, and tell other people if you found it useful. I also do little trips around when I go photographing the critters around here. I like to take my vlogging camera and kind of record my outings. So have a lot of fun doing that, and we'll be doing more in the future. So that's going to do it for this one. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself.